We've talked to you about previous charges brought against Trump. You've said, well, look, it looks like it's politically motivated. But these are very serious, aren't they? You look at some of the evidence that's listed here, it's going to be hard to argue against some of this, isn't it?
Well, first of all, my favorite kitchen utensil is my cell phone that I use to call local restaurants delivered to my house. And, Stephen, I'm guessing that's you as well. I think these charges are, again, trumped up, to not use a pun. It's no coincidence that these charges were dropped by Joe Biden's chief political persecutor one day after Hunter Biden's close business associate and friend throws them not under the bus, but also runs back and forth over them, testifying that Joe Biden was involved in at least 20 conversations where Hunter was selling access, not really to Joe Biden, but access to him because of his access to his daddy. And I think it's not a coincidence that this comes one day after that killing testimony on Joe Biden. The charges are really very scant, though. When you look at what there's actually contained in these 4 indictments, they're trying to create Donald Trump's freedom of speech to question the veracity of this election, the credibility of that election, and that's his free speech right to do so. Trying to criminalize that is beyond anything that U.S. law does, and there's not even any of the legislation that the prosecutor cites in his indictment. And then when he did his press conference, he was talking about the insurrection that Donald Trump supposedly inspired, but didn't charge him with that because Donald Trump actually told the crowd, protest peacefully. So this is just another piling on of charges that will carry no actual weight other than in a jury in Washington, D.C., where only 5.4% of the residents in that city voted for Donald Trump. So this is all pushed to let Democrats vote to prosecute Donald Trump.
The timing of this is very significant, though, isn't it? Because it does mean that Donald Trump is going to be essentially fighting these charges at the same time as running a presidential campaign.
Yeah, it's definitely a distraction, and we've learned that a lot of Donald Trump's campaign financing is going to legal fees. I think one account has it at $40 or $50 million to paying lawyers for all these charges, and there may be more to come in Georgia dealing with this same election issue. Here's what's interesting, though. This prosecutor, I don't know if he got his law degree from some pub in the south side of London, but he has now handed Donald Trump the opportunity to subpoena and question witnesses under oath about the very thing Donald Trump has been claiming, that this was a bogus election, that it was fraudulent, that it was stolen from him. He's just handed subpoena power to Donald Trump to actually delve into those issues when he's not had that opportunity before. So I think the prosecutor didn't think this through before he made these bogus charges. In this case, it hands Donald Trump a pretty good weapon.
Yeah, but when you say, Steve, you know, people have got the right to challenge an election result. Well, fair enough, but you can only do that, can't you, by ascertaining the facts. And what is made clear in this indictment, and we knew this was the case, actually, because we'd heard this stuff already, was the idea, you look at Detroit, for example, and Michigan, and Donald Trump was told by the Attorney General, no, this was all fair and above board, but then went on to say Detroit's totally corrupt. It's absolutely corrupt. And it's not just some Joe in the street saying it, is it? It's the President of the United States. It carries more weight. I mean, how can that go unchallenged?
Well, keep in mind that after Donald Trump got elected in 2016, you had Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, say that it was a fraudulent election. You had Hillary Clinton and others challenge the election, say it wasn't valid. He stole the election. They didn't get prosecuted. The other thing is that none of the cases involving whether or not there was actually election fraud, repeated voters that were dead or didn't exist, there's some indications that was taking place in places where there were narrow election results, 20 or 30,000 votes determining whether a state went into the Trump column or went into the Biden column. So these have never actually been thoroughly explored or vetted, and this may give that opportunity to do so. And again, they've never prosecuted the people in Congress and Hillary Clinton who challenged the credibility of Donald Trump's election in 2016. Why haven't they been prosecuted?
How do you think Donald Trump is taking this? I mean, the statement from the Trump campaign asks questions about the timing, says it's going to be right in the middle of his winning campaign for 2024. It also calls it an un-American witch hunt. But this is one of many, many charges now against Trump. He must be feeling pretty tired at this point, or do you think this is giving him more fight?
Well, I think we know enough about Donald Trump to know he will not go quietly into that good night. He will come out swinging. He will swing till the end. I think the challenge, and Stephen raised a great point, this is a lot of different challenges that he's having to face at the same time. Again, it's a drain on his campaign funds. It's a drain on his energy and on his time. It's a distraction. And I think that's the purpose of what the Biden Department of Justice or Department of Injustice is trying to do. They're trying to stop their chief rival, a guy that's leading them in the polls, in most polls in the United States. They're trying to knock him out of the race because he's their most formidable challenge to Joe Biden staying in office and being able to keep the FBI and the Department of Justice and all these other corrupt weapons of the Democratic Party in place. So I think there are a lot of folks on the Democratic Party side who have an interest in making sure that their chief rival, the guy most likely to beat Joe Biden, isn't going to be in the game.